Welcome to an all-new season of Blitz. I'm Brian Carter, your host, and we're here at Lumpkin County High School with first-year head coach for the Indians, Brad Waggoner. Coach, thanks so much for taking your time to be with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Coach, you took over a team that last year was one of the younger in the region. They went 2-8, showed some resiliency at times. Talk about your excitement in taking over this program and what your expectations are for the guys this year.
You know, like I told these guys when I first got hired here, our expectations are going to be high. There's no question that right now we've got a lot of work to do. We've got to build a base block to kind of build off that foundation, I guess you would say. But, you know, the kids have been working hard this summer to this point. But at the same time, we got a long ways to go. But at the same time, when I took the job here, you know, I knew what I was getting into. We got a bunch of hardworking kids. But we're going to find a way to win, and it's going to take time. But at the same time, we got a high expectation for right now as well.
Yeah. Now, 2009, 2010, the Indians posted back-to-back 6-4 seasons, kind of put Lumpkin County back on the map in the area. And you mentioned you knew what you were getting into when you took this job. What enticed you most about this job, and how familiar are you with the Region 8 4A and Class 4A in general?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, what I guess took me about this job right here was the fact that this is a great place to live. You got a great school system. You got a bunch of great kids here that come from great families. But also, I think the challenge of it. I think, you know, they were 2-8 last year, but they have been successful somewhat in the past few years. But you know, I saw this as a place where we could come in here and we could build this program basically from ground zero up. But at the same time, I saw a place that had lots of potential, and I think that kind of goes from the standpoint of how these kids are here, from from the type of families they come from, but also the type of school we have here. Because obviously I've got a young boy growing up. My wife's a school counselor. Just the overall school system in itself was the big drawing point. But also for the fact that I'm a football coach, so I think the challenge of building this program and making this program special is what drew me here. Because it's going to take a lot of work, and we got hired almost a completely new staff, and these guys are all in the same for the same reason I am. We're trying to build these kids to be strong young men, but also we're trying to build a program here that's going to make Lumpkin County proud.
Now, you said that you hired an all-new staff, and obviously you're coming in. So my question for you is, because I don't know what this is like from your point of view or whatever, but when you come in, you've got your whole backfield intact from last year, your senior quarterback coming up. Are all these guys going to have to prove themselves over again and kind of earn that starting spot for you?
Yes, there's no question. I think, but whether this right now or this time next year, the way I look at things, we evaluate kids every single solitary day. We're going to make sure that we're going to play the kids that give us the best chance to be successful. But also, I think, kids nowadays, there's no entitlement. So just because you were in this position last year or this position this year, every day is an evaluation part, and I guess in my opinion. And we got kids that are working. It might not be a starter right now, but they could be by August 30th. But right now we're trying to find a group of guys that are going to be committed. They're going to be kids that we can count on, and that kind of starts where our all-season program we got going on right now. But that'll kind of lead us all the way up till we start fall camp. But every day is an evaluation part for us. It is good that we have the quarterback back from last year, but at the same time, he's having to battle every day for his spot. You'll probably see some guys that will probably be playing in different spots than they played last year, but that's just part of the evaluation. That's not necessarily changing philosophy of things. It's just part of the evaluation.
Now, last year there was a cited lack of depth that was, noted on this Lumpkin County team, and only 10 seniors to boot. So that kind of played into them being a young team, kind of learning, getting their identity, so to speak. Talk about how you feel, or how do you feel that the way the underclassmen got a chance to get some reps in last year, how that kind of helps kind of differentiate that drop off, so to speak?
Well, I think you always want to have quality depth. I think that as a high school coach, you're always probably complaining because you don't have enough depth. It doesn't matter where you're at. But at the same time, I think that you got to. That starts in your all-season program. That starts back in January. We were a little bit behind because I got hired here in April, but that started back in April, and that's continuing right now. We got guys that probably people I ain't even heard of here in Lumpkin County that will probably play a lot of plays for us this next year. But at the same time, you're constantly building your depth through your weight program. You're building your depth through the off-season conditioning program. That's where you build your depth. That's where you develop players. But as the season goes on, we'll have what I call the JV squad.
Yeah.
That's basically a development squad, and all that is. And we get this. We got there's 76 kids out here right now that's going through some workouts every day. So obviously, we want to continue to get our numbers up, but at the same time, we're not going to sacrifice having higher numbers and lowering our standards for commitment.
Gotcha.
So.
Now, last question for you, and then I'll let you go. But in the past few years, Lumpkin County's kind of gone with a multiple attack on offense, a little bit of the passing game, running game, just whatever works best. There was a quarterback, I'm sure you may have heard of him already, Taylor Guthrie, that was here, and he was a dual threat quarterback. Then Ian McIntosh was a guy recently here that just a great running game and a receiver as well. But kind of talk about what your approach might be offensively this year without giving too much away.
Right. Well, offensively, we'll be multiple in offense, but we're going to probably be, if you want to kind of compare somebody, we'll be very similar to Georgia Tech offensive-wise. We'll it's going to be a lot of misdirection, a lot of motion stuff. We're going to make sure that whatever we do offensively and whatever we do defensively is going to fit our personnel. Yeah. Just because when I came from Decatur, we were an all-spread team at Decatur. When I was at Chattooga, we were an all-spread team. But, that's not what we're going to be here. We're going to make sure that whatever we do here is going to fit our identity to make sure that we give these kids the best chance to be successful in what we can do offensively as well as defensively. We're going to be multiple on defense, but also we're going to be smart enough to do what we can defensively. But I think what you'll see is we're going to be probably totally different than what we did last year. Mm-hmm. Change of philosophy, probably just change the coach staff, change of terminology. Yeah. There's no right or wrong way to do things. I just think that what we do is something that we believe in as a staff. I think every staff's different, but we're going to take what we believe in and we're going to try to incorporate that here to give these guys the best chance to be successful.
Well, Coach Waggoner, thank you so much again for your time on Blitz. We appreciate it and look forward to seeing what you do on the football field this year.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach. Now, when we come back, we're going to have a quick player interview for you straight ahead.